Well, hello there, Sagittarius. How are you? It is so good to see you again. I'm Mary Sue, and I'm so grateful that you're here. So today we are going to be doing your 3-month tarot forecast. So this is for January, February, and March of 2024. We'll take a look first at the overall energy with the oracle cards, and then we'll look at the energies for each of the 3 months separately. Looking for any obstacles that might be on your path, areas of resistance, and of course, advice from Spirit. And if you're enjoying the content that I create, I'd really appreciate it if you would consider liking, commenting, or subscribing. It really does help to get my message out to more people, and I really do appreciate all of your support. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's see what we have here. Voyage of the heart, love flows through you and to you, and be spirit, sweet results await. One of my favorite cards in this deck. Yes, this is the energy where when you really step into putting your own love into your own life, right? Loving yourself, loving your work, loving the people in your life, loving the things that you do on a daily basis, right? A sense of love and gratitude for the life that you have. Suddenly, you are, it's almost like it multiplies overnight. And, this is the number 7, very spiritual. Understanding that part of this is because you're stepping into almost a sense of awe about the world. And, we're finishing up the Sagittarian season. We're getting ready for, we're finishing up the Sagittarian season, getting ready for Capricorn, but Pluto is moving into Aquarius. That's what I was trying to get to. January 20th, Pluto is moving into Aquarius, and this is an energy of truly opening up. The Capricorn energy for the last 15 years, Pluto's been in Capricorn. It's been a very much a follow the rules, work hard, not a lot of emphasis on fun and play and expansion in our lives. And now as we move, Pluto moves into Aquarius, it's going to have this sense of joy, of expansion, of what else is out there, what else can I go and explore. And I really love this for you because, Sag, you are very much an adventure seeker, right? You're very positive about life. You're very optimistic. And I think that the Pluto moving into Aquarius is going to kind of open up your heart to seeing even more positivity and good coming in. Yeah, this is beautiful energy that you're coming into. Look at this. On the bottom, you have true love, great achievement, and then the law of attraction, okay? So there's this energy of when you truly love yourself and love the life that you have created. That doesn't mean that there's not more that you want, right? But it's really getting really happy and a sense of gratitude for what you already have. All of a sudden, all of the other things that you have been wanting almost like start rushing in. That's the energy that I get here, which is beautiful. So it's, you have the thinker here. You could have been trying to think about what it is that's going to make you happy, right? And I feel like you've been kind of stuck. There's almost this energy of trying to figure out, of thinking logically about what it is that you want, right? So that you can take action on it. But here's the difference. When we're kind of stuck up in our head, then we're using logic to think about what it is that we want. And a lot of times that goes back to the conditioning that we have received, right? What would my parents want me to want in my life? What would my friends want me to have in my life? What does society want me to have in my life, right? Instead of getting into your heart space and saying, no, wait a minute, all of those Capricornian rules of what I'm supposed to want, right? Based on the conditioning that we receive in life, suddenly goes out the window. Because when we follow our heart, we're not saying, oh, I have to follow all of these rules, right? And Sag, not that you don't like rules, right? But rules can be, they can be healthy boundaries for us, and yet at the same time they can seem confining. And I think that that's where you are. You're kind of understanding, yeah, there's more that you want out of life. And I think for a lot of you, it's love. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you in 2024, okay, move first of all, maybe out of romantic relationships that really aren't based on what your heart wants. Okay, so it could be somebody, you could be with somebody, if you're in a couple, right? You could be with somebody that meets the criteria of the rules that you grew up with, or it's somebody that looks good on paper, right? And it's like, yeah, this should be a beautiful relationship. And I'm not saying that there isn't some good in the relationship. But all of a sudden, what you're also recognizing is that perhaps what you need to focus on is, what does your heart really like about the relationship? Right? And for some of you, you may realize that the person you're with really isn't what your heart desires. And for those of you that are single, you may find that one of the reasons that you're single is that you have been trying to follow the rules of who you're supposed to be with, right? So you can have this like list of character traits, that you have been trying to seek a partner based on, because those were the rules. That's what you thought you were supposed to be looking for. And now as Pluto moves into Aquarius, it's kind of like, well, wait a minute, those rules don't fit what my heart truly desires. That's why thinking about it, right, is based on the rules that you kind of grew up with. When we get into our heart, sometimes the rules that we grew up with aren't in alignment with what our heart truly desires. So I think for some of you, if you're in a relationship, you may start concentrating more on what your heart truly desires and looking for that in the person you're with, right? Or you could decide, wait a minute, this person doesn't meet my heart's criteria at all, and decide to go in a different direction. And for those of you that are single, I think you're changing up the type of person that you're looking for, because you're recognizing one of the reasons you maybe couldn't find a partner is because you were just looking for somebody that met this criteria but wasn't based on what your heart truly desires. Yes. And when you step into your, we all have divine masculine, divine feminine energy, but the divine feminine, the Empress energy, is really stepping into this energy of truly being heart-centered. The Emperor, okay, is very much the thinker. Makes decisions, even love decisions based on logic. This is like, no, wait a minute. I'm wanting something that is based on what my heart is truly desiring. And that can be so totally different than what we've been conditioned to think about. Okay, so let's go to January. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, really interesting, because the readings have been where we're really sitting and being really present in our life. And I think it's interesting because January, even when we're setting goals for, the year ahead, one of the first steps in setting goals about what you would like to either bring into your life or things that you would like to experience in your life is first taking a look at, hey, where am I right now? Not worrying about the past, not worrying about the present. It's kind of like the magician sits down and looks at the tools that he or she has, right? And then it's kind of like, okay, these are the tools that I have. These are the skills that I have. These are the things that I love about my life, right? And it's being really present with it. And then asking yourself, what do I want more of? It's not about, okay, I don't like my life. And this is really about what's working in my life, being really grateful for it, getting into that heart space, and then asking yourself, okay, what else do I want to bring into my life? And then going out there and really kind of like seeking it. For some of you, you could actually be going back to school. For others of you, you could be starting to, depending on what it is that you want. If If it's love that you want, you're putting your pentacle out there. You're putting your own characteristics out there based on what your heart truly desires, right? Where this is also, pages are a little bit also about being novice or new to something, and once again, this energy of, yeah, you know what? I'm changing up what I'm putting out there. Even the energy of what you're putting out there. I wouldn't be surprised. Some of you may even do a makeover because you're understanding, wait a minute, it's kind of like if you've been on like a dating site, right? And you created a profile for yourself. All of a sudden you're recognizing, wait a minute, the profile that I built for myself, okay? Is attracting in the person, the type of people that maybe I logically wanted at one time, but weren't in alignment with what my heart truly desires. And understanding, wait a minute, I have to go and change my profile, right? So that I can start attracting in the type of people that are more in alignment with what I really want. So you could have had, let's put it this way, maybe you were wanting to attract in somebody that was professional and well educated, and family oriented, okay? And so on your dating profile, you may have put on there, the books that you read, or the college that you went to, or, we talked about your career and, wanting a family or something like that, whatever it is, right? But now what you're recognizing is, okay, wait a minute. What's really in alignment with what my heart truly desires is I love to voyage. I love to travel. I love to experience new things, right? I would love to live in a lot of different cities and have the experience of living in different cultures with different people. And then that would mean that you may have to go in and rewrite your dating profile, right? Focusing more on what it is that you are wanting to experience rather than like a bullet point list of your accomplishments. Yeah, this is beautiful. Okay, so see, you have the Emperor here. Your understanding, I do feel like for a lot of you, you are understanding that your idea of a romantic relationship, family, and all of that comes from this energy of what you learned as a child. And it's kind of interesting because we have the Emperor and the Empress, right? That you were making that list. You were kind of like in alignment with what was tangible, right? This sense of tangible, of the things that you could put into a profile, that your college degree, or the college degree of the person that you were thinking of dating, right? The material things that they had, the kind of like this very traditional idea of family. And maybe that's part of it, is that you're understanding, wait a minute, in my heart, I don't want that traditional value of family. There's something more that you're wanting out of your relationship than maybe what you grew up with, or the idea that you have had about relationships since childhood. Yeah, really beautiful. Kind of thinking outside of the box. So let's see what February has in mind. Yeah, once again, I think what happens is that in January, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, you kind of have this epiphany that you want to go in a new direction, but then comes February. And if you think about it, February is Valentine's Day and everything, right? It's almost like your ego falls back into this energy of going towards the same thing, of backtracking. There's always a reason why we backtrack, okay? So that we can really sometimes get even more clear about what it is that we really and truly want for ourselves. For some of you, if you're in a relationship, February could be where you understand, wait a minute, I don't want more of the same. I want a relationship that is different, that brings a much, look at this. We have the Death card on the bottom. Changing, transforming. transforming your idea of what a romantic relationship truly is. What it is that you want out of it. Yeah, you're seeing everything in a different perspective. Look at this. You're dropping the burden. You're seeing romantic relationships or family units, okay? Or even long-term committed relationships. You're seeing them in a different way. I think for some of you, you are kind of like, this is your energy, but you're kind of like mixing a little bit of what you grew up with something that maybe is completely different, you know, more open, more modern, more expansive than maybe what you grew up with or you thought that you would want. It's kind of like seeing love in a different perspective. You know, dropping the burden of what was expected of you. All right, or what you expected out of yourself in a relationship. And then you have the High Priestess, kind of seeing this on a much more spiritual level. So in other words, it could be that maybe you thought you would never have a long distance relationship, right? It could be something as simple as that. Like you were like, no, I could never be in a long distance relationship. And now what you're understanding is, well, wait a minute, maybe I could be in a long distance romantic relationship. Looking at, you know, and this has kind of been coming up because I do feel like even for my age, I have some friends that have very different relationship styles, I would say, than, you know, what we would have seen or thought about having 20 or 30 years ago, you know, even. So I think that there is a shift, and I think what you're understanding is I want to make this to work, not just for you, but for your partner, but it has to be based on what your heart truly desires. You know, your heart may not truly desire to be under the same roof with somebody 24/7, right? You might be saying, you know what, I really like to be able to travel, or I like living in another city, or having my own independence, you know, that whatever that is. It's kind of like wanting to change it up. Okay, so let's see where this goes in March. Yeah, in March. Yeah, I think whatever happens in February, I think you do. I think February might be a little bit of a tough go, because for some of you, you may be deciding to end a relationship, to drop the burden of a relationship that you're in order to go towards something that your heart truly desires. For others of you, you're healing this, healing any kind of emotions that you may have around, you know, feeling like, well, I've spent my whole life thinking that this is what I wanted, or this was expected of me, and now I'm changing that mindset. And sometimes when we change our mindset, okay, our beliefs, okay, especially around relationships, it can bring in this energy of understanding, wow, you know, some people would say, I've been duped my whole life, right? It's kind of that energy of, oh my goodness, I was duped my whole life. I thought this is the way a relationship was supposed to go. And now what you're recognizing is, no, I can do a relationship in the style that best fits what I want and what my partner wants. Because here you have the loving man, right? And you have the treasure island. Seeing the treasure, okay, in a new relationship. Very much more of the heart-centered. A very heart-centered relationship. Whereas the Emperor, I would say, is not heart-centered. Okay, this is very wealthy or financially stable, business savvy, you know, generous, responsible, reliable. Yes, okay, but this is somebody that is, you know, gets your heart beating a little bit faster. Let's put it that way, right? More passionate, more inspiring, more motivating, just, you know, just adds so much more to your life than maybe that you have found in your relationships before, because they were more based on what you thought you were supposed to have, instead of somebody that brings a lot of passion and just adventure into your life. Yeah, this is a beautiful energy. And healing, healing your own heart, understanding that, I think, whenever we step onto our spiritual path, we can look back and we can kind of connect the dots, right? And sometimes we do go through that phase where we get a little bit, it's a combination of being resentful for believing what we believed or being conditioned to believe something, right? And then also regrets that we allowed ourselves to believe that instead of questioning it earlier. And I think that February, you may have those feelings, but by March, you're healed. You're ready to move in a new direction of knowing that you're going after, And then, oh my gosh, this is just beautiful. The Ten of Cups, the Hierophant, right? The Hierophant is believing that you can have what it is that you want in a romantic relationship, but it's also with the Hierophant. This is the energy of a long-term committed relationship, but now it's not quite so traditional, right? It's filled with love. It's very much more filled with emotional intimacy, bringing a lot more balance into your life and the sense of passion, of play, of just joy and excitement. These sweet results are awaiting you, right? They're coming in because what you're doing is you're focusing on what it is that you truly want and looking for that in other people. Instead of perhaps in the past, you may have looked for red flags in people that you dated or something like that. You focused on, well, do they have this, right? Here's my list. Do they have this? Yes or no, right? And now this is kind of like, well, what's the heart-to-heart connection that I have with this person? How does this person make me feel? And getting more in alignment with that. Yeah, beautiful energy, Sag. This is a little bit about getting swept off your feet. We'll have to say that. I do feel like there is a little bit of energy of getting swept off your feet because you're allowing yourself to throw out that list. Once you throw that list out, right? It's if you think about it, when you throw the list out, okay, what you're doing is then concentrating on the person that's right in front of you, right? You're concentrating and you have the here and now. You're being really present with the person that's in front of you and asking yourself, what is it that I love about this person, right? Not focusing on what they have or don't have, but focusing on what do you love about this person. Yeah, beautiful energy. All right, let's pull a soul truth card for you. And Sagittarius, I do personal readings. So if you're interested, the link is in the description box below. I'd really be honored to do a reading for you. All right, am I afraid to be seen? Yeah, okay, so here's the thing is that when you step into this new way of relationships, of being emotionally intimate, of having a heart-to-heart connection with somebody, it does mean that you have to be more vulnerable. When we focus just on finances and, education and what are you bringing to the table and what am I bringing to the table, it's more of a business transaction, right? And so it's kind of like, yeah, you either have it or you don't, right? It's kind of like cut and dry. But when you move into this new type of a relationship where it's really heart-centered, then it does mean that you have to open up your heart. You have to share yourself on a different level, including sharing, your wishes, your hopes, your dreams, your fears, your secrets, right? It's opening yourself up to a new way. And sometimes that can kind of like cause a little bit of fear within us. So the world doesn't want you to hold back any longer. Time to shine your unique light on the world. You were made from love, and from love you are whole. There is no more hiding. There is no more shame. There is only truth. Live naked and free. And that's exactly what I think you're getting ready to do, is to enter into a romantic relationship where you're either taking a relationship that you have now to a much more deeper emotional place, right? Or you could even be thinking about maybe leaving that relationship. Or if you're single, looking to kind of like have that connection, have that spark between you instead of having, everybody bringing a resume to a date. Yeah, beautiful energy. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there, Sag. It is so good to see you. I wish you so much love and light in this situation and all your situations, and I hope to see you again really soon. Bye for now.